How is research in general in Australia itself? Do you feel isolated because you're so far away, or with technology these days, is
Uh, I think it's important to have research in most countries because the core things that might be happening in any population can be quite different, and particularly if there's environmental and genetic influences, then that's going to be different in every country. So I imagine that there will be slight differences depending on where you are in the world. Um, the it is more isolated, but the people who work in research, there's less of us, and so we work better together. So there's less resources, and you can't do things independently as much as you can elsewhere. The population is smaller, and so we can often do much larger, not in terms of patient numbers, but in terms of across large regions of different landscapes. We can do those studies very well in Australia, probably better than other countries. So there's advantages, and you can get unique concepts. And as I said, because generally you'll have expertise that is focused in each capital city across all the country, that everyone does actually work collaborative to understand how it's going to impact in different regions. So I think from that perspective it has advantages.
what is the prevalence, and does it differ with the Aboriginal race?
Yes, we've just been, one of my colleagues at the institute I was at has just finished some epidemiological data on the Aboriginal population, and it was previously thought the Aboriginals have a difference in survival, so they generally die younger than the normal Caucasian population in Australia, and by 10 to 20, sometimes 25 years. So it's actually quite a big difference, and they still have quite terrible child death for a variety of reasons: infection, remoteness, terrible things. So they thought that dementia was less prevalent because they die younger of other things. Yeah. But they just finished doing the studies, and dementia is as prevalent. The thinking was that they potentially had dementia from a different cause because there's a lot of alcoholism. They found that the dementia wasn't caused by alcoholism at all, that it's actually caused by the same thing that's caused in everyone else. They die earlier because they don't have as good medical treatment of their heart disease, of their other diseases, but the prevalence of all these diseases is actually similar, just happens earlier. So the thing that they did notice is that they thought that there was potentially a much more stressful early environment for children in the Aboriginal population. That's because they live remotely, they have less schooling. There's a whole host of differences as to what happens just medically, and there's they thought a very stressful early life. And so they're thinking, because you would expect that if they had the same advantages and lifestyle as the rest of the community, that they should get their dementia later, the same as everyone else. So the concept at the moment, the next set of studies is going to be looking at early life stresses to see how that actually impacts on dementia. And that may give us even clues for things that happen to non-Aboriginal populations, but they have it probably in a much higher incidence.